Hello, welcome to ID Talks. I'm Anastasia Larina, and my guest today is Oubai Shahbandar, defense analyst, TRT World. Hello and welcome to our program.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to be on.
Thank you so much. So, France sent military equipment to Armenia in according to the agreement signed between the defense ministries of two countries last month. What's your opinion about this decision of French government? Should we be concerned about the militarization of Armenia?
Well, the French government has made a decision to send the Bastion armored personnel carriers to Armenia. And it's interesting, it's coming at a time when both Armenia and Azerbaijan have said that the conditions are ripe for a potential peace agreement, perhaps before the end of the year, yet you have France trying to militarize the region, even following the de facto resolution of the Karabakh question, given Azerbaijan's undisputed battlefield victory in Karabakh. But now the French seem to be, after, frankly, over 3 decades of failed European sponsored talks through the OSCE process. Now, I think the timing of this military deal and military sale to Armenia, frankly, does not advance the cause of peace in the South Caucasus. Now, strategically, will these weapon sales shift the balance of power in the South Caucasus? They will not. These armored personnel carriers are still very susceptible to drone attacks, to loitering munitions, whether it's the Bayraktar drones, whether it's the Israeli-produced Spike anti-tank guided missiles. They will not necessarily give a significant advantage and shift the balance of power in the South Caucasus in the favor of Armenia, given Azerbaijan's significant advances both in technology and in tactics that give Azerbaijan's military a major advantage over Armenia, particularly following the Karabakh operations in 2020 and the most recent counter-terror operation. So given the fact that these military equipment being sold by France aren't going to really shift the balance one way or another, I think it is perhaps more of a political message from Paris at a time when France is trying to become more relevant on the international stage. And I think it's also recognition by Paris that France's position as a mediator and as a world power has significantly diminished over the years, given Azerbaijan's military victory in Karabakh and given France's numerous military failures in sub-Saharan Africa.
Well, you already answered my question about the interest of France in the South Caucasus, but what can you tell us about Armenia? Armenia is a member of the Collective Security Treaty Organization. Armenia has Russian military base on its territory, and by doing this, developing military cooperation with France in Armenia, they should understand that it can also lead to some problems with Russia.
Yeah, that's right. On one hand, Armenia has a massive Russian military base in Armenian territory, and Armenia's entire economy is dependent on Russia for the most part, and of course, the overwhelming majority of Armenia's military equipment comes from Russia, both being sold by the Russians as well as being donated by Moscow. So this may be also an attempt by Yerevan to try to send a message to Moscow as well, but it's always a delicate balance, given some of the statements that we've seen from Yerevan that have angered Moscow in the recent past. But at the end of the day, any type of strategic engagement with the West will require an economic trade routes with the West. And that will not be possible without a comprehensive peace treaty with Azerbaijan and subsequently with Turkey. Because Armenia doesn't have any trade routes or any strategic connection with the West, given its entire trade is north-south to Iran and Russia. So if Armenia really does seek to balance Russia and the West, it will ultimately need to normalize relations with Azerbaijan, which would ultimately normalize relations with Turkey and open that strategically crucial land border.
And should we expect any reaction from Turkey? Turkey is a NATO member, it's also an ally of Azerbaijan and one of the leading powers in the region. So should there be any reaction on behalf of Turkey on such a behavior of France in the region of the South Caucasus?
I think the strategic military alliance between Turkey and Azerbaijan has historically shifted the balance of power in the South Caucasus and has also sent a loud and clear message to traditional Western military powers that the region, from the Mediterranean to the Black Sea to the Middle East to the South Caucasus, is no longer the exclusive domain of the traditionally Western military powers, whether it is Russia, France, the United Kingdom, or the United States, and that there is an emerging third way. And so, given the Karabakh, that is why the Karabakh military victory by Azerbaijan, supported by Turkey and other allies, was just a shock to the system for many military strategists in the West. Because now we have indigenous technology, advanced militaries in the region that are not dependent on Western military patronage. So I think you can expect that military strategic partnership between Ankara and Baku to grow and to provide a counterbalance to any perceived or real attempted interference by France or any other military power that years ago would have had some level of hegemony and a significant amount of power to really do whatever they wanted in the region. But that is now no longer the case here in 2023. And I think that is a very significant trend. And that is a trend that is being taken, I think, very seriously amongst Western military powers. The fact that it is this region, the South Caucasus, is no longer the exclusive domain of what had previously been considered great powers. So there is a shift in the military balance, frankly, not just in that region, part of the world, but globally.
And let's also talk about the role of Turkey in the security matter when it comes to the region and military cooperation with Azerbaijan. Just recently, Turkish leader Recep Tayyip Erdogan sent a bill to the Grand National Assembly of Turkey on extending the term of status of Turkish servicemen in Azerbaijan for another year. The document mentions the successful work of the Turkish-Russian Joint Monitoring Center. How do you evaluate the work of this center and the Turkey as a security guarantor in the region as well?
I think the presence of Turkish service members and of fighter jets in Azerbaijan really just goes to speak to just how deep that alliance is between Azerbaijan and Turkey. It is a treaty partnership. It is not just an alliance by name only. It is a treaty alliance. And I think that will help both countries grow their militaries in terms of capabilities. There's a lot of lessons learned that are transferred from each one of the countries, from Azerbaijan to Turkey's military and from Turkey's military to Azerbaijan's military. And it creates that ecosystem to help both countries' armed forces become more advanced and become more proficient. And I think that is a key component in shifting the power balance in the South Caucasus and in the Black Sea. And it is a military alliance, frankly, that is historical. Given its broad implications, and we have what we've heard here is really a reinforcement of just how important that military alliance, as well as the strategic alliance broadly, will be for the future of both countries going forward.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining IZ Talks today.
Thank you so much. Always an honor to be on.